Good afternoon. Hope y'all are doing great. So we just wanted to kind of start out by letting you guys know that the reason we are offering this free class is because we are going to be offering a MAPS class that starts October 18th. It is 1 hour for 8 weeks. It's going to be every Wednesday at 1 p.m. They will all be recorded, so you can watch it at your own time if that's the way you'd like to do it. But that's going to be coming up. And what we wanted to do was to kind of share a little bit with you guys today about that class. We just wanted to be upfront that that's where this is all leading, is to let you know that you can get more info. And we've made it so that we hope you guys can get a whole lot out of this 30 minutes as well. We know that your time is valuable, and we want this to be super tactical and something that you guys can start implementing immediately.
Absolutely. And just one more logistics thing before we get started. Again, this is being recorded, so if you have a friend who might not be here, that it will be in their inbox within the next few days. And we will be sharing our screen quite a bit throughout this to show you guys some visuals. So we won't be able to necessarily see the chat live. Graham will be monitoring that for us and answering any logistical questions. But at the end, we will try and go back and flip through the questions to answer those.
Yeah.
Should we get started?
Yeah. Thank y'all for being here.
Yes.
Great.
All right. We're going to hit that share screen. Perfect. I can never share the screen without saying I'm sharing the screen.
Sharing the screen. Yeah. Currently sharing the screen. Okay, great. So, guys, what we're going to talk about today is kind of the client relationship cycle, which is a concept that I'm sure you're all familiar with. But what the goal of this is how to stay top of mind and really how to automate it so that your clients come back to you, so that folks in your community always have you at the top of their mind as their go-to for real estate.
Absolutely. And before we dive into that concept, just a little bit about our team and to show you guys how we have created a consistent communication system that works whether someone's in transaction or not. So will you tell folks a little bit about our team?
Yeah, so y'all, it's been a lot of trial and error, needless to say. I'm sure y'all can relate to that. But we've seen a ton of growth, and since 2016, you guys can see right here. So last year we helped 327 families for about 6 million in GCI. And basically, the backbone of our team is really our marketing, and the piece that holds it all together are our email campaigns. So we just wanted to share these numbers with you so you can kind of see the trajectory that we've been on, and then we can talk to you about how we've done it.
Absolutely. So getting into how we've done it, this is something that Mary Cheatham and I think we were sitting on the floor right in this office one afternoon, just like delusional after a full day.
Right.
And we came up with this concept of the client relationship cycle that's not new information by any means, but it was really cool to put a visual to it. So will you explain what the client relationship cycle is and how this kind of pertains to email marketing?
Yeah. So guys, if you've worked with a client, then you've start at the beginning in kind of the lightest blue section, and you've got to attract folks into your web, right? Get them to even know that you exist. Then you start to acquire leads, folks who are interested in buying or selling. You convert them into a client, and you provide this incredible experience for them, right? Which hopefully results in their perfect purchase or sale. Okay. So you've really done what you set out to do. But then what happens? You fail to stay in touch with them, right? So we know that you want to be calling them, you want to be texting them, all of those things. And yet, one thing that you can do that creates a cadence and creates something that is sticky, that is really automated and works for a huge group, is this concept of email marketing. So what Meg actually put on here for you guys, if you'll notice, is we did kind of the average median sale is what we did. And so what we're showing is that $10,731 is one side of a traditional real estate transaction. This is based on overall national numbers.
Yep.
Right. But if you capture both the listing and the buy side of it, then that's $21,000 if you help someone sell and then buy. And so just by putting these folks on your email list and sending the same emails out to everybody in your database on a regular basis, whatever your cadence is, then you can capture their additional sales, which moving forward, the NAR stats say that's every 7 years. And so look at all that money that you're leaving on the table if you don't automate it, and all that you can capture if you do.
Yeah, I love this visual. We also thought about it in a different way. This is the exact same client relationship cycle, just in a different perspective. So kind of on the left side, you see the agent, you pushing the boulder up the hill, doing the hard part.
Yeah.
You're getting people to the closing table. And then the flat line shows, how you keep people loyal to your brand through email. email. And it shows that same every 7 years on average commission that would come in from consistent communication with them.
That's right. That's right. So to recap this, guys, so often we do the really hard work and then we fail to do the easy part of keeping them in our orbit. So we're going to teach you how we do that.
Absolutely. So we are very passionate about email. Just for a little bit of background, our team, our marketing department, we send an email every Thursday at 6 p.m. However, we did not start out by doing that. We sent a monthly email. We got really great at nailing that system. Then we moved it to biweekly, got really great at that. And now we've graduated to a weekly email that we send to 22,000 people every week. So that's a little bit of background on our passion behind emails. And here's a reason why, 5 more reasons why we love them in general. So they're a buffet of information. They're a great way to provide value for people who are in transaction and who are not in transaction. Will you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So basically, when you think about who's going to open your emails, you've got a small percentage of your database who's actually looking to buy or sell. So you've got to make sure that you include content that appeals to people who are neither buying nor selling. We're going to get back to more of that in a little while. And then number 2 is that they're basically free. So, we spend a ton of money, admittedly, on postcards. We do a quarterly magazine. I mean, there's a lot of things that we spend money on. Email is not one of them. And it is such a gift. And that's one of the reasons that it's a backbone for us. Not only is it free or close to free to put it together and send it out, but also as you add more people to it, you create it one time and then you just continue to grow your database and your reach grows and grows. So it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving.
And logistically, costs and everything varies. Of course, it is very low cost. The way that we go about email marketing, we use MailChimp, but this 8-week course can be applied to any mail platform that you use: Command, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Flowdesk, anything that you'd like. So whenever we talk about our mail platform, we might accidentally say MailChimp, but we are not discriminating based on email platform. So we use MailChimp or our mail platform of choice, which you pay based on your database size. And then the second thing we use, which we'll show you how we do it, is we design all of our emails in Canva. So we've found that the prettier the emails are, the more likely they are to get opened.
True. It really is true. And it sounds complicated, but actually, Meg's going to show you guys in just a few minutes. She has designed a template that is going to go to everybody who takes our class. And all you do is just drag and drop your info in there. So you would drag and drop. We tell you exactly what to put in each place. And all you got to do is drag it in there. So we'll show you guys that. I don't know if y'all are techie, then that probably all makes sense to you, the Canva thing. I am not, but drag and drop is my love language.
We love it.
So yeah.
So MC, number 3, tell folks about the forwardability. I love it.
Okay. They are forwardable. So unlike, if you send somebody a postcard or a magazine, right, they receive it and then they have to remember to take it to their cousin the next time they have lunch with them, right? If they want to give them the information. With emails, you wouldn't believe how often we have somebody reach out who says, hey, I'm actually in the market for a beach house or for a new home or whatever that might be, or for a real estate agent. And my friend or so-and-so forwarded me your email. Right. So, they've got legs. Once you send them out there, they can be sent all over the place, and a lot more folks than you originally intended to can receive the content.
Yes. Something else we love about emails, number 4, is the insights they provide are endless. So again, going back to that postcard example, you can't really track well what's sticky. So people might pick up the postcard and really, love it. And then a month down the road, they're like, oh, I remember I got a postcard from them. Let me call them. But you never know that it's from the postcard. Tracking ROI. With emails, you can actually go in, no matter your platform, and see what people are clicking on, how long they're staying on it, all of that stuff. So the insights that emails provide, we have found huge benefit in, and we'll share with you guys how we track ours and find if they're successful or not.
That's right. And it can even be as granular as if you've got somebody in your database who's clicked on the same listing that you're advertising in an email, they've clicked on it 6 times. Somebody should probably give them a call, right? So, I mean, it can really be that granular.
Yes. And then last, and your favorite.
I know, it makes me so happy. Yeah, you're not relying on an algorithm. So y'all, when we do social media posts, which, let's be clear, we want to recycle content. So we're using the same content in our social media posts that we're using in the email. But remember, with social media, you're relying on an algorithm as far as whether or not the person that you hope sees that actually sees it. So with an email, you're not. Everybody you send it to receives the email. And I would argue, even if they don't open it, every Thursday at 6 p.m., they see my name in their inbox. I just think that has value, right?
Absolutely. It shows consistency. And even if they consciously know it or not, they're thinking about your name every Thursday at 6 p.m. Is that weird?
No, I like it.
Okay. Sounded weird coming out of my mouth. Okay. We're going to stop sharing the screen really quick because we have it's not, I mean, something we're very passionate about.
Yeah, there
Stop share. Thank you very much. Okay.
Y'all,
So MC, question for you.
Yeah.
What percentage of people, we're talking about emails, our database, a lot of us have large databases and email to a lot of folks every month or every week. What percentage of those people do you think are actually interested in real estate right at this moment?
I would say maybe 5%. I don't know if anybody would disagree or agree, but I would say, let's just say somewhere in that 5% range. So, what you've got to think about, as we referenced before, is how do you put content in your emails and on your social media, for that matter, that appeals to folks who are not transacting business, who aren't buying or selling. And that's the thing people don't think about, right? We tend to kind of lead with real estate, which I think, can be a great thing, but it also is kind of an Achilles heel because it's not always going to interest everybody. So one of the things that we figured out to make this really easy is we use something called the bucket system. So what we've done, and that's part of what we're going to do on this course, is to help you guys identify your buckets. What we've done is we've identified 4 buckets that are basically categories of content. And so every week in our email, we know that we need to provide content that falls into each of these 4 buckets, right?
Yes. So we're going to show you guys what ours are, just to give you, I feel like it's a little bit easier to see it, and then we can explain it.
Great.
Wow, multitasking today. There we go.
Okay. Love it.
All right. So we're going to show you guys our buckets. The first 2 actually are real estate related. So we have our listings. Of course, we want to service our sellers and make sure that we're promoting their properties to get them sold. So listings is one of them. In the class that we're going to be teaching, we actually have a menu of 15 different ways to present a listing that actually
they're engaging and interesting, because that's the thing, y'all. It's not only just about getting that listing sold, right? It's also about the HGTV effect. People love to look at real estate. There's an aspirational aspect to it. And don't forget that also the way you present listings in your emails and on social media, you're actually interviewing for the job of being your viewer's listing agent, right? In the future. I mean, so it's really important that you nail it on this. And creativity, I mean, we've spent a long time figuring out these 15 ways that you can present a listing. And so every week we just go through what are the listings we need to present, and we choose a way that we're going to do it, and you just bam, stick it in your email.
Love it.
Yeah.
Market update is the second one. So our first 2 are real estate related. Second 2 are not necessarily, but our market updates we found are great to provide information about our local market, of course, and to position us as economists of choice.
That's exactly right. That's what Gary says. Gary says that we've got to be the local economists of choice to our clientele. And so this is a chance we'll teach you guys about this in the class. We keep it really simple. It's really easy to figure out. It's really easy to overcomplicate it. And then the flip side of that coin is it's really easy to figure out how to drill it down and turning into something that is very easily digestible and something that makes you seem like you are the expert that you are.
Yep. And these first 2 buckets, before we move on to the next 2, we've found ways to share listings and market updates for people who aren't in transactions. So providing value in the way that we present a listing for someone who's not even in that price point, maybe, or not even interested in purchasing a property in our area, but we tie in local businesses and locations and things like that, where if someone's scrolling through our email and sees the listings bucket or the market update bucket, they're still getting value from it, even if they're not interested.
That's exactly right.
Okay. The community bucket is probably our favorite. We don't have favorites, but it's one that we see the most. What's the word I'm looking for?
We get a lot of interaction. We get a lot of it's a super sticky bucket.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Ooh. And so I know. And this one is just so much fun. We have lots of ideas about this, about ways that, if for us, that's the thing that we have in common with the folks in our database, is that we're all interested in our community. And most likely that's the same case for you. I know there are some folks who have a niche for their real estate clientele. It may be that they are, I know I have a friend who is single professional women. She's in a big city and that's her niche. So you might would focus on that. But for most folks, just your overall community, your neighborhood, if you're farming, we can talk about what that would look like, but it's providing content that helps them get more out of your community, helps them be in the know about events, openings, ways to really take advantage of things that are going on. So this is a really fun bucket.
It is. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Donald Miller, but we're big fans over here. And he always talks about being the guide. So when someone is in transaction, you're the guide through their transaction as their realtor. But the second two buckets here that have really nothing to do with real estate, we found success in being guides to the community. So when people aren't in transaction, we're the guide to their community. When people are in transaction, we're the guide to their, to the closing table.
That's exactly right. So they're always the hero.
That's and then right. The last bucket we have is team. It also can be your personal bucket or if you're an individual agent. But we found that people like to see what our team's up to. We're a team of 25 women, which is hysterical. And we like to share things about what we're doing in the community, but also things that tie back to local businesses or ways that we're volunteering or anything like that.
That's right. And if you're an individual, it's the exact same thing. But again, what we found is people don't know exactly how much of themselves to share and from what angle to approach it, right? Because you don't necessarily want to share with them what you had for breakfast, right? I mean, it's the same kind of thing on social media. And so what we talk about in the class is really how to identify what the values are that you want to convey in this bucket, and then making sure that you're running them through that filter when you're putting them in your email or when you're posting them on social media. So I think there are some good do's and do nots on the team or personal bucket.
Agree. Yeah. So we want to show you guys kind of our buckets in action. These are just some screenshots from a recent email that we've sent out. Again, our templates that we're going to share with you guys. Actually, you can drag and drop and make them look exactly like this. On the left here, we have our listings bucket. It's just a screenshot of a listing we had recently and how we presented it. Right next to that is the market update. We did a little, Mary Cheatham does these carpool videos, which is very cute. She's not driving. She's parked safely. And
I'm also not running carpool.
Yeah,
that's a spoiler, but we'll teach you guys about how to film a really effective video like that.
So that's kind of what those looked like in this email. They don't look the same every week. And then the last two, we have a little find of the week for our community bucket with a local business. And we're new to the acai bowl game here.
Right, we are
small
town living.
Yes. And then the last one, we recently moved into a pretty new office. So we had a little site visit with our team that we looped in some local business owners who were helping us with our office and shared what we were doing as a team at the same time.
Yeah. And do you want to stop share? I do have one point that I want to make for just a second, which is, guys, one thing that's really interesting about this bucket system is the questions that we've gotten. We taught a class for James Shaw's group, which was great. And so we had, a few hundred students that went with us through that. And one of the questions that they had for us was, do you do all buckets in every email? Yes. Right. So you don't focus on one bucket per email. I know. So every email has each of those components, and we'll scroll through an email for you in just a second. And the reason I see some great faces out there that are understanding, the reason that you do that is, let's go back to what we said before, that emails are a buffet, right? So what you want to do is you want to provide content from each of those categories every time you send an email out, because then there's something for everybody. Does that make sense? Anybody who's receiving your email can find something that they relate to or that they've learned from when you do it that way.
It's so good.
Yeah. And then the other thing I want to point out is, of course, we don't call them the buckets in the email.
Right.
Nobody knows that we run this bucket system. We're just telling you guys behind the scenes, this is how we do it. It just shows up as an email where it seems cohesive. It seems like each email is related to the previous one and to the next, because we're hitting them with content from each of these 4 categories, but they're not aware that we're running a bucket system.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And the buckets aren't labeled or anything like that. It just shows up as just a nice flow to an email, but we're letting you guys in on our secrets about how we put it together.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Deep breath.
I know.
We're going to recap. We're going to show you guys an example of our template, and then we're going to take some questions.
I know. Sorry, y'all. I know we're trying to make this. I'm sure a lot of you guys are high D personalities too. I do not like to waste my time. So we're trying to make sure that this is super tactical for y'all.
Absolutely. All right. Last time we're sharing the screen. Here we go. All right. So far,
Yeah.
3 things that we know that
Yep.
you all now know is number 1, if you're not using emails, start now. They're basically free. They're a buffet of information. They're ways to stay top of mind with folks who are in transaction and folks who are not in transaction. And you don't have to change the messaging based on who is and who isn't. What else? You don't have to rely on an algorithm. There's just so many reasons to get into email, let alone using them consistently. So number 2.
Yeah, number 2 is just make sure that your content is appealing to folks who are transacting and who are not. And again, we have lots of tricks and systems for how to make sure that your content, you need buckets that appeal to folks who are transacting and who aren't, but even the folks who are transacting, it's got to be presented properly, right? So I think really thinking about that is smart. And then, just using the buckets. We have a MAPS coach who we love, Jordan Freed, and Jordan always says about making calls. He always says, it's not that you're call reluctant, it's that you're value deficient. Right. So it's not that you don't want to call them, it's that you don't know what to say. Right. How do you bring them value? And so identifying what your buckets are and using these menus and systems that we're talking about makes it so that you're always bringing something of value, and it allows you to do it consistently.
And Mary Cheatham touched on the concept of, we've developed a lot of these systems through trial and error. And I vividly remember years ago, before we developed the bucket system, me sitting at my computer, not knowing what to put in an email, kicking it down the road the next couple of days, and then just never sending it out. So the consistency comes from these content buckets, and we've seen success in it.
It lets you take action.
Absolutely. Right. So next, we're gonna scroll you guys through kind of what a template looks like in Canva. Again, we will tell you exactly how to do this in the class, but just wanted to show you guys kind of what it looks like on the back end. So we have put little frames in there that you can drag and drop in your property photos, your team photos, community photos. You can type in your own content, and we kind of guide you what direction to go with that. And then we walk you completely through how to export this out of Canva and drag it right in. Ooh, that was a quick scroll. And drag it right into your mail platform of choice. So again, we did this class with James Shaw before, and a lot of folks, we actually hopped on a lot of folks' email lists to see their masterpieces come to life, and it's been really cool to see.
We've had so much fun, and people have been forwarding us their emails saying, look at the results I'm getting, and it's been really cool. Yes. But these templates can be tweaked. They are drag and drop. So just our goal is at the end of this class to have everybody set up. We also have some hacks about how to grow your email distribution list so that you're hitting as many people as possible. Once you create it, you want to send it out to absolutely everybody you can, right? But anyway, we feel like that this template system and identifying your buckets and just running the play makes it really simple to get those great results.
So again, y'all, this QR code takes you right to our website to register if you'd like to learn more. Again, this launches on October 18th. It'll be at 1:00 Eastern time via Zoom for 1 hour, 8 weeks. It'll be 6 weeks of kind of deep dive instruction, kind of like how today was, very jam-packed full of information. And then the last 2 weeks will be mastermind style, very interactive, going back and forth, sharing ideas, brainstorming, and stuff like that. What you'll walk away with, aside from these templates that we talked about and, developing your buckets, is we have found a way to determine what trackable things to look at, whether it's click rate, whether it's open rate, whether it's unsubscribes, just a very simple, basic spreadsheet that we'd love to share with you guys on tracking and to see if your emails are working. Hacks for, like you said, creating a subject line, ways to grow your email list, and other fun tips and tricks.
Yeah. And I do feel like, I'm sure y'all are exhausted just from listening to this. I do feel like that, our plan, our class layout is that we're going to go back through, do some overview in the first week or two, and then we're actually going to do a deep dive into each bucket so that we can really spend some time making sure everybody understands how to maximize their opportunity with each one of those, exactly what type of content to choose and how to present it.
Absolutely.
So, okay. We'd love to answer any questions you guys have.
4 minutes to spare. Great job.
I love that.
Awesome.
Okay. Is there anything, Graham, that we need to answer, or anybody have any questions for us?
There's a couple in the chat box. If y'all wanted to scroll up, you could ignore my my post.
Oh, you're good. Okay,
I think
Marilyn.
it started with Brooks Brittingham's was the first one.
Oh, let's see.
Your emails look great. What are your
Open rates? So our open rates are now hovering a little bit over 40% each time we send it out, which is great. And our click rates on properties specifically have increased, even if they're not at the top of the email. So that's always the goal at the end of the day, but we hover around 40% open rate.
Yeah, we love seeing when we send out a great new listing, you know, the requests and the showings that are booked and everything.
Crazy.
Thursday evening and Friday morning.
Yes.
It's really exciting.
How do we get on the email list? You can shoot me an email at megan@marycheathamking.com, and we're happy to add you to our weekly email list if you guys want to see it. Oh, thank you, Graham. I see you said that under there. Marilyn said, I also use MailChimp and Canva for my email newsletter. Have you had any issues with these emails being sent to people's spam since it's not actual copy in the email? That's an interesting question. We have not dealt with that. We're sure some go to spam, you know, if folks don't necessarily open it consistently. We found that previously when we weren't sending it consistently, it would go to spam more often. But now that we are sending it more consistently, same time, same day, every week, it goes to spam less often. Do we use any services such as SendGrid? We don't. We send it straight from MailChimp. We always schedule it because it's scary to hit send right then and there. Which email service are you finding the best financially and for clickability? Get sent to spam with my CRM. Again, the only reason we use MailChimp is because that's all we've ever used. So we haven't really explored many other mail platforms, which doesn't mean we hold MailChimp any higher than any of the other ones, but that's just the one we've been comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the Canva template, that is something that we're going to be tweaking those and send those out to the folks who are participants in our class during that.
Ooh, what percentage of your business comes from email campaigns? I wish we knew that.
I know it's hard to know. And then it's hard to know, like, how, you know, some of it is, it's really difficult. I think a lot of it is mind share, right? And a lot of it is that we strive to be the first folks that come to someone's mind when they think about local real estate. I think these emails really help with that.
Absolutely. And then a lot of the logistics questions about the videos and Canva and all that we will get into in the class. And then how do we sign up? Tim, I think let's see. I think if you scroll up, you can click on the building a marketing machine that Graham put in there and you can register.
Yep. And as we wrap up too, we can go back to that slide that has the QR code.
Oh yeah. Let's reshare.
Are there any other questions?
There we go.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you guys. Great. If anybody thinks of anything, feel free to reach out to us, but we appreciate y'all joining us today.
Happy emailing.
Thanks so much. Bye, y'all.